Hi, Brendan. It's a pleasure to meet you. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Joe. Yeah, my name is Brendan Carney. I've been working in digital advertising for around 15 years, holding positions at various startups and larger companies, including Microsoft and Yahoo. Now I am founder and CEO of Asobu, which is an in-game advertising exchange, which aims to bring together all of the fragmented supply out there in the in-game ecosystem and bring it together all in one place to make it easier for buyers to access.
So why did you choose to set up Asobu, and why in particular now?
Well, various reasons. Over the course of my career, I've worked a lot on the supply side, and working with different ad formats and across different mediums, so websites, apps, etc. I always found it extremely difficult to talk to games developers and get them to put standard banners, video interstitials into their games. It was seen as highly disruptive, kind of ruining this baby that they've worked so hard to create in the form of this game. And then I saw this new format come along, in-game, blended in-game advertising, which fits into the gameplay itself, looks completely natural, doesn't spoil the user experience, in many cases kind of adds to it and creates a more real feeling within this virtual environment. So I thought it was such a cool development. I think there's various other conditions going on within the market as well, which makes it such an interesting format. You know, with the cookie going away, it's getting harder and harder to build audience segments and target in the way that we have been since the dawn of programmatic, but also engagement becoming a real kind of buzzword within the industry, but like becoming one of the key KPIs that marketers are looking at now. I think in-game kind of fit perfectly into all of these kind of issues and seemed like a really good, exciting field to be getting into.
Why is now such a great time for advertisers to get involved with in-game advertising? What impact and successes have you seen?
Yeah, so like I said, with the cookie going away, it's getting more and more difficult to build audience segments and to kind of plan a marketing campaign based around behavior or intent. We're seeing a lot of people going back to more traditional kind of strategies, including contextual. So I think this very much ticks that box. You're able to build kind of custom game lists that really suit your audience, that kind of suit the kind of environment that you're looking to position your brands. I think gaming in general is just continues to explode. I mean, it's been a huge channel for a long time. Revenue on gaming is a third bigger than all of video on demand put together. So it's a absolutely huge entertainment channel, but has previously received kind of less investment from marketing than maybe it should have done. So I think it's a great time to get into gaming. Everybody is a gamer. You'd be hard pressed to find anyone in any age group that hasn't played a game on one device or another, or indeed plays regularly. So it's a really good channel to be able to reach your audience in a fun and engaging way. So in terms of successes, I'm seeing more and more brands getting into this channel with each month that goes past. So in the beginning, when I first started looking at it, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, I was kind of trying to think what sort of categories would be suitable for it. Entertainment is an obvious one, other games. But as time goes on, as I'm starting to realize now, as I said, everyone is a gamer, all age groups, demographics, genders. Now I can't really think of a brand that isn't good for this channel, that wouldn't be able to find their audience somewhere within this sector. So I think it's a great time.
Do you think immersive in-game advertising will replace traditional banner ads in games? And how do you see media buying evolving for games?
I don't see the banner going away anytime soon. I think that'll be here to stay. But I do see more game developers adopting blended in-game as a format. I think we'll start to see them develop games from the offset with this format in mind. So we'll start to see better integrations as those games start to launch and become more popular and have these formats put in there. How will buying of it change? I think right now the inventory is pretty fragmented. There's multiple players out there in the market working with different games. I think it's been a bit of a struggle to be able to access that across the board for various reasons. Either it's not all available for one platform, or standardization hasn't quite been there. You need different creative sizes, formats with different companies. Reporting has been not unified, so you get different sort of engagement metrics from one vendor versus another. So I think how we'll see buying changes, we'll see a lot more standardization across all of that. Seeing that IAB coming out with their update of the standards in this space recently was a great step towards that. But I think we'll see more kind of technology coming out there that improves access to this inventory, makes it easier to buy at scale. I also think we'll see a lot of development in sort of optimization and targeting. It's still very early days. I talked a lot about the contextual kind of element of it, but I think we will definitely see some developments when it comes to ability to target and certainly ability to optimize through machine learning, artificial intelligence, custom algorithms, that kind of thing.
Thinking on a geographical basis, have you seen any differences in terms of adoption of in-game advertising?
Yeah, certainly. Some markets, like with every sort of new channel that comes out in digital, are more advanced than others. You tend to see the US and the UK kind of very early adopters often, with some of the other EU Big Five kind of coming a bit later, maybe a little bit more cautious about entering into the market. But really, I'm seeing brands advertising within this channel all over the world right now. So it seems to be adopted more and more across the globe. I'm quite pleased to say that I see Europe as being quite a front runner in this field. US is almost always known for blazing the trail and coming out with new innovations and formats first. But actually, I think there's more going on in Europe within this sector, and maybe that's something to do with there being a very strong kind of game development community over here, particularly in the Nordics, where I'm based here in Stockholm. We have a number of huge game development studios here. But yeah, some of the challenges around kind of launching this globally and in different markets have been scale. So again, in the bigger markets like US, UK, Germany, France, where there's large populations, you can find some scale there. In smaller markets, it's a bit more important to kind of work with multiple partners to be able to reach that, achieve that scale within those smaller countries.
AdInMo has been part of the in-game advertising task force with IAB and MRC to set a new standard for in-game advertising measurement. How important is this for advertisers?
I think this is always important for advertisers, no matter what channel they're advertising within. They want to be able to measure performance. They want to they're still keen on brand safety. This has been a huge kind of focus from the brand side for the last at least 10 years now within digital. And we're starting to see more and more of these tools, third-party tools, become available within in-game now as well. So I think it will be as important within this channel as it is within the rest of digital. It's one of the kind of things that makes programmatic so kind of crucial to marketing strategies, is that it is so measurable. It is that you can achieve transparency, you can see where your ads are running, and you can really measure performance. Attribution, I think, is another thing that I think needs to be cracked, needs to be improved upon within this space. But I think we will see some developments in that space going forward as well, being able to kind of attribute the success of a campaign, or attribute the sales potentially to exposure within in-game ads. I'd like to see more brand studies, brand uplift studies coming off the back of campaigns run within the space as well. I think we'll see more and more as bigger brands invest in the space with the budget to be able to commission those studies and measure those things. I think we'll start to see more and more of those results coming out.
How do you think in-game advertising can help advertisers who are currently navigating ecosystem changes, for example, around user tracking?
Well, yeah, again, kind of coming back to the point of the cookie going away, it's becoming very difficult to build those audiences. It's very difficult to track who has seen an ad and what they've done afterwards. I think certainly at the moment, I see in-game very much as an upper funnel format. It's a brand uplift awareness format. So in order to measure the success of the campaigns, I think right now we're kind of faced with, like I just mentioned, kind of surveys and studies performed after campaigns. But I hope to see more and more development coming out in the near future about how we can kind of measure the success of campaigns.
What do you think are the main barriers or concerns advertisers may have when it comes to advertising in games, for example, brand safety? How can the industry help overcome these?
Yeah, so in the majority of kind of meetings I have with advertisers, one of the first questions is, can we pick a specific game list? Can we see the full list of games? Do we know where our ad's going to be running? Because I think there is some concern over whether it's going to be within violent content, for example. There are games out there that include violent content. Is it going to be targeting the right age group? There are games out there targeting much younger audiences. So I think right now it's really important, if you're working with a vendor, is to kind of find out what they're doing to kind of ensure that your brand is positioned correctly. For me, that is working with the advertiser to build custom game lists and show every single title that they might appear within, and make sure it fits the sort of context that brand wants to be associated with. But again, I think it's highly likely we'll see more technological developments within this space to help automate a lot of those things.
And finally, what's your prediction for in-game advertising over the next 12 months' time?
Well, I mean, not really my prediction. Pretty much every market analysis that I see shows revenue to continue to grow. I think this year it will probably grow 14% year on year from last year. I think that's going to continue for the years to come. It's the fastest growing area within digital advertising right now. So we'll continue to see that growth, I'm sure. I think we'll, as I've mentioned several times, see more and more kind of technological advancements within the space. So for me personally, I'm very much looking into how we can optimize campaigns using machine learning and custom algorithms to help automate some of that optimization. If you define the key KPI, I think in many cases it's going to be engagement. So the average number of seconds a user spends looking at the ad, engaging with the ad. There's lots of things we can do there to kind of optimize towards that and get better results out of campaigns. Mentioned again earlier within the conversation is standardization. I think we'll, all of the vendors that I talk to, including yourselves, are very much focused on kind of moving towards these standards to make it scalable, to make it easily accessible to big budget campaigns, and to be able to run large effective campaigns across multiple markets and take a lot of those more manual elements out of it and the sort of barriers to spending within the space. So removing a lot of those barriers, basically. So yeah, but ultimately growth. It's gonna. I think it's a real boom time. There's an explosion in it. I think more and more games are even getting into the space. We'll see more and more developers adopting it as a format. As I said, building games with the format in mind from the outset. I think one big thing to drop will be the consoles getting in the game. Excuse the pun. I think right now you can kind of manually buy, for a long time you've been able to buy ads within gameplay, native gameplay ads, but it would involve talking to the studios directly, having it hard coded into the game, huge amount of development time, huge amounts of budgets. What's great about this as a development is that you can now buy it programmatically in real time in individual game sessions, because the majority of gaming is online now. As soon as the consoles get into this space, I think it's going to really explode.
Brendan, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Really nice to kind of have a conversation about this emerging space, and excited to see what comes.